In the beginning of our conversation, telling me about the Goa scenario, the Goa parties, how much changed in the last few years, in the last 10 years?
Now there's no parties in Goa.
There is no parties in Goa?
There's some discos sometime that manage to have something kind of like a party, but it's not, there's no beach party or jungle party or this or that anymore. It's finished.
Why not?
The government doesn't allow.
You're kidding.
The police and the government and all this, yeah. There's a loudspeaker ban in India, no loudspeaker after 10 p.m.
So, but the
Supreme Court made ruling or something.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't that?
Yeah.
But you can.
So it kind of put a damper on everything. Bad things happen, man. Did you read about that last year in March, Holi, full moon of March, Holi? It's a big Indian festival. There was a party near a place called Pune, you know where Rajneesh used to be?
No.
Well, it's a city in India, not far from Bombay. And it was a full moon party at the foot of a big old fort.
Okay.
And 700 people were there, and some DJ from Germany and his friend and some other Indian DJs. And the police came and surrounded the party and arrested everybody.
Because of this law.
And they took everybody arrested, all the party people, 700. They took blood tests and this and that. They want to like put them case for being at a drug party. And the DJs and the organizers, they took them all and was trying they were trying to put them away for 10 years like they were dealing drugs or something.
My God.
And it wasn't...
Yeah, a kind of example.
Because
for the
people
others,
threw thing maybe who had something and they found few thing or whatever, and then they try to put it on the organizers and the DJs.
My gosh.
So the situation is pretty bad.
But because of...
Sometimes some underground thing happens somewhere maybe, and people get away with it, but it's always a danger. Last time I played in Goa, now the parties in Goa, most of them is like 5 in the afternoon till 10 at night, because you can't have loudspeaker at 10 at night, and it has to be at a chai shop at the beach or somewhere. And so it's more a daytime thing. And last time I went to play on one of those, finally I didn't play for a long time, and then I said, okay, it was Shivaratri. I went there, we started at 5 o'clock, by 6:30 the police was already there to stop me. Then they paid, then I don't know, they made some agreement with them. They went away, then the next ones came. Around, again, it stopped, 8:30. Then they went away and the guy came and told me, okay, now everything fixed, you can play all night. 11 o'clock, the anti-narcotic squad came and then the whole party was over. It appeared that there was another, like, big place that has parties. They were having a party the same night and they kept sending us the cops. It's like this in Goa.
Was it because of drugs?
No, it was because basically the other place is having a party, so we can't have one the same night, I guess.
No, but why did the government decide to prohibit?
Oh yeah, maybe it's because, I don't know. No, but the loudspeaker law also. That was from Delhi because during some wedding somewhere the speakers were blasted and some young girl got raped and then she committed suicide after and the parents brought it to the Supreme Court. And they made this law, all India, no loudspeaker after 10 p.m.
Because of a singular case, they got the decision.
That's what I heard, I don't know.
So, let's talk about spiritualism, how a religion affects your life, how you perceive that. Because I think it makes a difference in your life.
Yeah, I think so. I think learning how to surrender is very important.
Learn how to surrender.
Yeah, surrender to the universe.
To the universe.
And to the, to the flow. And I found surrender through because I did my spiritual path or whatever, and then I realized, I became a servant of God, you can say. So all the time, wherever I go, I set up my altar, and I'm constantly doing thing in between all the other thing, and I'm always, all the time, in a kind of mentality of being a servant of God. So that, that gives me a purpose in life and keeps me in a positive spiritual and evolutionary direction somehow. But still rooted in a tradition that is established somehow based on truth.
How was it in your childhood? How did your parents
I didn't have much religious thing.
No?
No, we lived in California. My mother I don't know. Even my grandparents, I'm 5 generations San Franciscan.
Okay, so very
And
influenced by the
I don't
place.
know, after some generations, they never went to church or thing.
There was a kind of a freedom spirit.
Yeah, and my father grew up in Honolulu, Hawaii, and all his friends were Catholic that he grew up with, so he became a Catholic. And I went maybe once to church with him when I was growing up. I mean, they weren't very religious, really. When I became a hippie, I got into astrology, tarot, and then through that into magic. And then I read a Bhagavad Gita somebody gave me in '68, and that's how I wanted to go to India. And then it just evolved. And then I got to India, and I started to travel from temple to temple, and I met some sadhu, and I traveled with him, and we went in Kashmir to Amarnath Yatra, and we stayed at one temple with many Babas and one old Baba, and then
It was a process.
he made me his chela, his disciple. He became my first teacher, first Guruji. So, but already I had quite an esoteric interest in... I used to keep an altar in my house in the 60s, for example, already. And I was very interested in magic and tarot and astrology and all the...
So there are many different ways to understand God and to understand the religiosity, the spirituality. People have different concepts of God.
Right. My concept of God is that it is the unmanifest energy that exists behind everything. And slowly through cosmic will and the primal force or whatever, the realizing that I am, duality comes forth, and then everything springs forth from that duality. And that thing, that unmanifest thing, is the same everywhere. And so many different traditions. I've been in so many countries, and I've seen everybody's talking about the same thing. It's just like in every different country you have a different language. So they have a different name for God and a different kind of slightly different thought. Structure of how they think about it or relate to it. Different religions these are. Most of them came at different, they all came at different time periods, in different geographical place, in different cultural time. And so they came together in that particular way with their different rules and this and that. Like in India, where it's a tropical country, there's plenty of fruits, there's plenty of grain, all the vegetables grow, the cows give plenty of milk. They became a vegetarian culture. And so they didn't have to kill animals to eat because so much was there to eat. But in Saudi Arabia or somewhere, and it's all desert or whatever, they only have their herds of goat, or in Tibet, they have to sacrifice to God one goat and eat and whatever, or a yak.